Picture yourself out on a date. Might be harder for some of you than others. You're at an amusement park. Fireworks decorate the balmy night. Explosions of color illuminating the candied microcosm of treats, sideshows, and stuffed animals. Booths with mustachioed vendors and garbling arcade machines whir and spin and utter their rote bleepings and bloopings into the air. Somewhere afar off, music recites its honky-tonk rhythm, and the actors and actresses of this unsleeping playground perform their dance. The carnivalesque invitation swallows you and your date whole as you tread deeper into the park, even as the screams of roller coaster riders blast past your head, foreboding an evening of adrenaline and fun. If the coasters prove too much excitement and the arcade too overstimulating, there's always the peaceful, romantic gondola ride. In the midst of the swirling slot machines, rolling dice, spinning roulettes, and playing cards flying from hand to hand, a voice suddenly breaks through your reverie. You turn around and are immediately confronted by a cat. Yes, a talking cat, standing on top of the polar bear? One of the most creatively designed playable characters in any JRPG. I defy you to actually that statement. This is Cait Sith, my favorite character from Final Fantasy VII. Now look, I can hear some of you scoffing from here, but it's true, and I'll explain why in this video. If you aren't familiar, Cait Sith is a small black fortune-telling cat-shaped robot wearing a golden crown, a red cape, and boots, while holding a megaphone and riding on top of an all-lawdy-comin' Moogle doll magically brought to life by the power of his Scottish accent. He may also just be a glorified walkie-talkie, and I literally didn't make any of that up. For the FF7 crowd who belabors over the game's moody, broody, frowny muffin of a protagonist, a guy who somehow stole someone else's look but apparently none of the personality or charm, and the host of fictional women shockingly infatuated with him, the notion that Cait Sith could be anyone's favorite character may come as a surprise to you. He's too wacky, he's too goofy, he doesn't do anything for the plot, he's a bad guy, he's redundant, obsolete, I've heard it all, okay? He has little to do with a lopsided love triangle or theory crafting or unpacking themes associated with a certain silver-haired Bishonen swordsman. And you know what? I love him for that. Cait Sith to me represents everything silly about Final Fantasy, everything fun about the franchise, the fantasy of it. Note, I'm not talking comedic relief here, but Cait Sith interests me as a character not because he's funny, but for his dual allegiances. This is spoiler talk, and I get Rebirth just came out, so if you care about such things, you may choose to watch another video for the time being. But Cait Sith is remote-controlled, or possibly the robotic avatar of a man named Reeve, someone working for a whole company of antagonists, Shinra. Together, Reeve and Sith represent a conflicted character of two personalities, someone trapped in a system, bound to one role, who finds their own way to break free and eventually do the right thing. Besides, we all know the saddest scene in Final Fantasy VII was the death of Cait Sith #1. Rest in peace. Have you ever asked yourself, what is the deal with Cait Sith? Let's unpack the mythological inspirations behind this character, and in so doing, unpack more reasons why I love him. There is some debate on how to pronounce this wacky character's name, but regardless of how incorrect Square Enix wants you to say it, Cait Sith is named after the Cat-Sith of Celtic folklore, a large black spectral cat with the ability to speak and walk on two hind legs. In Scotland, the fairy Cat-Sith couldn't be trusted. It was a dark omen and a soul sneak thief. Vigils were held over the recently deceased to ensure that black cats wouldn't jump over the corpse and spirit away the soul. However, there was a way to placate the Cat-Sith. Samhain, the ancient Gaelic festival, a night marking the end of harvest and the beginning of winter, one of the progenitors of our modern-day Halloween, alongside the Catholic feast of All Hallows or All Saints' Day. On this cold night, foreboding colder nights to come, leaving a saucer of milk out for the Cat-Sith could earn a blessing for your household from the wild cat fairy. However, forego or forget the milk, and the Cat-Sith could curse your cows and hex your heifers. This teases out a thread of blessings and curses, good and evil, luck and unluck, which dogs the footsteps of much black cat lore, and certainly colors the patterns of behavior we see from Cait Sith in Final Fantasy VII. Is it any mistake that Halloween gave us the customary saying of trick or treat? Essentially, while helping or hindering, Cait Sith is a mixed bag of tricks and treats. The sentiment of these tales, like the Cat-Sith of Samhain, seems to be that cats could be two-faced, perilous, wild, uncontrollable, and mysterious on the one hand, playful, friendly, and intelligent on the other. Black cats as symbols of evil and bad luck are well known. They're still a popular motif during Halloween. In another interpretation of the Cat-Sith, the cat was believed to be a witch who could shapeshift and take on the form of a cat as dark as ebon, up to 9 times. The catch was that the 9th transformation would be permanent. Some believe that we inherited the belief that cats have 9 lives from this tale. Could the shape-shifting folklore cat encapsulate the dual nature of Cait Sith and Reeve? Unlike the familiar evil omen black cat, cats could represent good luck and fortune as well, and indeed they did and do in many cultures. An old Welsh rhyme goes,
"A black cat, I've heard it said, can charm all ill away, and keep the house wherein she dwells from fever's deadly sway."
Is it any wonder that the fortune-telling Cait Sith possesses luck-themed attacks? He is essentially a walking, talking slot machine. In Final Fantasy VII, his limit breaks include dice and slots, dealing out a random amount of damage or causing a random effect to take place in battle. Famously, infamously, Cait Sith can one-shot enemies as beefy as Emerald Weapon with the right slots combination. Or he could wipe out your entire party instead, symbol of luck that he is. It ain't no flashy omni-slashy, and no damage output can be found quite like Knights of the Round, but it is a surprise. Cait Sith's mystique lies in his hoard of secrets. Could your house cat hold any secrets? Here's a story about one called The King of the Cats. This old British folktale, as old as the 1400s if not older, tells of the death of a Cat-Sith, sometimes known as Tibert or Tim Toldrum. A man recounts to his wife and their pet cat, Tom, what exactly he saw when he was out grave digging.
9 black cats, all like our friend Tom here, all with a white spot on their chestises. And what do you think they were carrying? Why, a small coffin covered with a black velvet pall. And on the pall was a small coronet, all of gold. And at every 3rd step they took, they cried all together, meow. And as they came nearer and nearer to me, I could see them more distinctly, because their eyes shone out with a sort of green light. But look at our Tom, how he's looking at me. You'd think he knew all I was saying. Where was I? Oh, they stood looking at me when the one that wasn't carrying the coffin came forward and, staring straight at me, said to me with a squeaky voice, "Tell Tom Tildrum that Tim Toldrum's dead."
Upon hearing the news of Tim's untimely passing, the wife screams, looking at old Tom the house cat, who was swelling and staring. Old Tom suddenly speaks, shrieking out, "What? Old Tim dead? Then I'm king of the cats, don't you know?" And then the house cat jumped up and flew out of the chimney, never to be seen again, as cats are wont to do. Bet you thought that Cait Sith's crown was just for goofy looks, eh? Superstitious good or ill, black cats could be double agents with secret motivations. Whether you encounter cats such as these in Final Fantasy or on Samhain, near grave sites as they mourn the loss of a monarch, on Halloween, or even in your own homes, perhaps you should care less for Lady Luck and more for Old Tom. Don't forget the saucer of milk and bear a bit more respect for those brave fence walkers gaming the system from the inside, just like my favorite character in Final Fantasy VII. Oh, you can accept Cloud can whip out an ice lady from a little crystal Pokeball, but not my fair affection for the bonny wee robo-kitty? Now, I don't think so highly of him that I'd go as far as the Egyptians, who deified cats into the likenesses of Bastet or Sekhmet. But that is a story for another day. If you learned something, hit the like button and subscribe so you won't miss any future episodes. If you want to see more micro documentaries like this one, please consider making a small monthly donation at patreon.com/Gameologica. If you have an idea for a topic we should explore along the crossroads of video games, religion, spirituality, and mythology, let us know in the comments. Fidem Fabula Ludos. See you next time.